All right, another video here. We are still dealing with functions. We are going to continue learning about functions because there is a lot to learn about functions. Let me adjust the screen here. I don't know why I don't have it set up right away. I like to start off with me first and then reveal what we're learning next. So in the last video, we left off with parameters and arguments. So let's get started on that. Information can be passed to functions as a parameter. Parameters act as variables inside the function. Uh, Parameters are specified after the function name and inside the parentheses. You can add as many parameters as you want, just separate them with a comma. And so it's got some syntax for us here, which we are going to go ahead and add. Let me adjust this right here because we're probably going to keep this for a minute. Move this up one, downsize that. Go down to the next line here. Here's the syntax of what this looks like with parameters. So you got your void type, function name. We'll probably go ahead and change the function. No. So you get the function name here, like my function as we have above there. But with the parentheses right here, this is where we're going to change things up a little bit. So we're going to have parameters in here. Parameter 1, parameter 2, parameter 3, so on. And you can have pretty much as many as you want in here, depending on the code you're writing. And then, of course, your body for the function or code to be executed. And then the end of the function there. So the following examples, the next example we do has a function that takes in string called first name as a parameter. When the function is called, we pass along a first name which is used inside the function to print the full name. I don't think it's full name, but we'll see how this goes out. So again, we got our declaration for our function, which is down here. And it doesn't really show this very well. It actually brings this back up to here. And for now, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get rid of my declaration here. And we're going to move the function back up here for now. Save that like that. We're going to add in, this just has string in there, but as you know and stuff, they've been using namespace at the top, so we have to actually add in the standard part, standard string. F name is what the value is going to be, or the so the first part of this parameter is the type. The second part of this right here is the value. This is not the string type name. Actually, let me rephrase that. It is. So this is the type. So when you declare something, this string would kind of look like this down here. F name, and then what it is. For example, in this case, it's going to be Lima or Liam. Not even sure how to pronounce that. And so this would be our statement right here. So in this case, this is the only part that actually goes up in there. So it is the variable name, type name of the variable. And then this right here is actually going to be somewhere else. So in this example, these actually have a error underneath each one of them. And the reason that is because there's a parameter in here. In order for this function to be called now, you actually have to fill in that parameter with something. In this case, and stuff like what this is right here, and I'm going to go ahead and comment this out. We're going to take this right here and put it in here instead. So, and that is how this would work. So we're taking this right here, instead of declaring a bunch of them and stuff, we're just going to declare it once and create different names in all these right here. So every time it gets executed, it prints something out right here. We need to change this print as well. The new way this is going to be printed out is we're going to use the variable name. And then we're going to now it has this right here. And I had to think for a minute to figure out what this actually stood for. Refers. Yeah, I have no idea what that actually stands for. I can't. It's not even telling us anywhere what this actually stands for. What this is right here. Oh, okay. Maybe it might be a last name. Let's put a better last name in there. Just put Doe. It may be a last name. And we're going to change this right here. I know the example has this right here, but we're going to put a different name in there. And then let's say it's a family of 3. So we got John Doe is going to end up being printed. How about Jane? Yeah, Jane. And then we'll have little Timmy in here as well. So we got the mother, father, and a little son. All of them with the same last name. Different first name, same last name. So then we're going to save that right there. And in this case now, when we call this function, we're going to put each person's first name in there, and they're all going to have the same last name. So when this runs, each line is going to print up their first and last name, the full name of each person, 3 different people. If you had 20 people in a classroom, you might be able to do the same thing with 20 different people in a classroom. Although this right here part would not work, so you might have to actually add another parameter right here, like it was telling us to do before, where we can have multiple parameters. For the next time, it's standard string L name, last name. So if each one of these people have a last name, we need to adjust this so it has a comma in it and put the last name in there. So in this case, Doe, oops, it's a string. Maybe in this case it's Johnson. And maybe in this case it's glue. Why not? Right? Okay. So as you can see, we've got the type, we've got the variable name, we've got the variable name printing out right here. We don't have anything printing out right here yet, so let's make that adjustment right here. We're going to change this to actually add in a space right there so it doesn't collide together with each other. And then L name, and then a new line every time. So if we have 5 kids in a classroom, we have all 5 kids in a function that's being called. In this case, we have 3: John Doe, Jane Johnson, Timmy Glue. We can basically use this multiple times over again. We got 2 different parameters in there. This time, the first example only had 1, but we're doing exactly as what they said. Every time you have a new parameter, add a comment or a comma there, and then we're going to print it out. So we could have this down here 3 different times for each one, or we can have a function that calls each one to where we only have it written out once, putting in 2 different parameters. And when we run the code this time, it's going to give first and last name for each person. So we run it. John Doe, Jane Johnson, and Timmy Glue. John goes right there, which will follow into there. Doe goes right there as the last name. Now, you do have to keep the order correct. If you got the first name up here and you want it to print first, the first name has to go first. If you switch it, it will not be able to tell the difference. Then it's going to start printing up the same order of however you have it down here in the parameters. But it's got to match. If you don't have if you have 2 parameters up here, then you have to have 2 values down here inside the parameters for it to match. If you only have 1, then it's going to create an error. So if you have 3, then you have to have 3 in there. So that's how parameters work. Next line here, when a parameter is passed to the function, it is called an argument. So from the example above, fName is a parameter, while the 3 names, John, Jane, and Timmy, were the arguments. In this case, we have 2 of them, so we have 2 arguments, 2 parameters. If you have 2 parameters, you have to have 2 arguments. If you have 2 arguments, you have to have 2 parameters. Otherwise, it'll create an error. You can't have one without the other one matching. So, like I said, this is a good way to run multiple values through the same thing. So that's something we were actually wondering about earlier in one of my previous videos. Can you have a type declared with a value and have different, or with a variable, so a type, a variable. Let me write this in here because I'm thinking about it in my head, and instead of thinking about it in my head, I'd much prefer to see it. So in this right here, x is 10. We were wondering how you can have multiple values for the same variable. You have a declaration, a statement right here, type, variable name, and a value. How can you have multiple values for the same variable? Well, this way you can, because you do actually have multiple values for the same variable. You have John, Jane, and Tim. Multiple values for the same variable. And all of them are getting called out. Or getting printed out into the terminal. Same thing with last name. You have multiple values, same variable. To where now you can have, instead of just having 10, you have 11 and 12. But in this case and stuff right here, x can't equal all 3, or be all 3, but in this case it can be. Kind of sounds like the English language. One word meaning 2 different things. I think that's the conclusion I came up to when I seen this and understood it and read it, and I was like, it sounded like the English language. One word meaning 2 different things, so which one does it actually mean? Well, it means both, depending on how you use it in a sentence. In this case, yes, we were starting to get into that right there, where x, in this case fName, has a value of 3 different things. But it doesn't have a value for 3 different things until each function gets called. So where this one right here is John and Doe, and then we change the value in this one right here to Jane and Johnson. So that would be the same as this right here, x is now 11, x is now 12. The only difference is, in this case right here, x keeps the last value possible. So where it was 10 right here, now it's 11, so 10 is gone. It no longer is 10. And now it's 12, so now 11 is gone. So 10 and 11 are no longer in the equation where 12 is. In this case, they are still in the equation using 2 different functions. So let's go ahead and keep moving on. Now we got another exercise. We're not going to do the exercise. This video is only about 15 minutes long. That's good. My videos are getting shorter. Maybe they'll be easier to understand. So yeah, you can play around with this as much as you want. If you want to change this right here, you don't even have to change the name right here. If you want to change this to a different type, int and string, you can have that. Downside is you got to change these right here because these are going to have errors now because these are not integers. These are strings. So you're going to have 2, 5, or 6, or whatever, 8. And in this case, it's going to print up 2, 6, and 8. So when you save this and run this, this is how it's going to look now. 2 dough, 6 Johnson, 8 glue. If you want 2 integers instead, the variable name, again, should just reflect what the values are. I'm not really changing that and stuff because I'm just giving examples. But yes, if you want to change this as well to an integer, you can. And then you just simply change these integers right here. 4, 7, and 12. Save. Now if we run this again, we got 2 and 4, 6 and 7, 8 and 12. And yes, you can do that with pretty much any type you want. Booleans may work a little bit different. I imagine if you did a Boolean, I don't know if it'll go through any of this or not, but I figured I'd just add this in there just so you can understand it. We got the value right there. So we're going to change this from, and you can have it either way. These numbers will actually work too, but change this to 0, change this to false. Because we know that booleans and stuff can have multiple meanings to them. You can use any value you want. Anything besides 0 becomes true. 0 being false, and false right there. Now when we save this and run it, we got 1, 4, 0, 7, 0, 12. But this is Boolean. And if you want to add in the whole idea of standard output, standard alpha, I'm just trying alpha. Ooh, am I saying that right? Doing that right? I may be doing it wrong. Let me look here real quick. See how quickly I forgot how to do that? Ah, I got it backwards. That's why. See what happens when you don't practice it? You forget it. There we go. Save that. We'll go back down here to the functions right here in the parameters. Actually, no, we were at this one right here. So now, when they print up, instead of having the values to them, they're going to have the names to them and what they represent. Save it, run it again, and now you got false or true 4, false 7, false 12. So yeah. So yeah, there's a number of different options. If you want more parameters in there, you can have more parameters in there. You might want to have it print out those more parameters and stuff, but you're also going to have to add more parameters to, or more arguments down here in the function calls. But yeah, you can have a little bit of fun with that. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video right here. Next video, when we come back and stuff, we'll deal with default parameters and see where it goes with that. Like I said, if I said anything wrong, any comments, any suggestions, if you like the video, hit the like button. Appreciate all the everything that goes with that and stuff. Not mandatory, but again, this is my journey. This is not me teaching it. I don't know enough about it yet. I'm just learning and sharing what I'm learning and sharing what I'm discovering. So I'll see you next time.